A lot of MLB teams have high expectations to win in 2023. But are there any teams that could surprisingly be good? Well, here are 6 teams that you shouldn't sleep on in 2023. Starting off with an honorable mention to the Baltimore Orioles, who actually finished the season pretty good with 83 wins. The only reason I don't have them on this list is because they didn't do much in the offseason. I do think they could be a sneaky team this year though, with some of their top prospects potentially coming up. Starting off at number 6, we got the Milwaukee Brewers, who actually had a pretty solid offseason, bringing in Jesse Winker, William Contreras, Joel Payamps, Owen Miller, Wade Miley, and Brian Anderson. They did lose Colton Wong, Omar Narvaez, Taylor Rogers, Andrew McCutchen. They just missed out on the playoffs last season, and they had 95 wins in 2021, but I think they could be a playoff team in 2023. They have a really nice looking rotation with Brandon Woodruff, Corbin Burns, Eric Lauer, Wade Miley, and Freddie Peralta, with a lot of solid hitters too. With Christian Yelich, hopefully he bounces back a bit. Willie Adames, who's been very good, Rowdy Tellez, William Contreras, and Jesse Winker coming back to the NL Central, and hopefully he'll bounce back to his 2021 form. Brian Anderson could be a sneaky good player. I think this team has good potential and could potentially be a wild card team. Next up, we got the Chicago White Sox. Last season, they were a little bit disappointing, finishing at just 500, where in 2021, they had 93 wins, but they had a solid offseason. They did lose AJ Pollock, Jose Abreu, and Johnny Cueto, but they got Andrew Benintendi and Mike Clevenger. We'll see if he pitches or not this year, but their rotation's looking pretty solid with Dylan Cease, Lance Lynn, Lucas Giolito, Clevenger, and Michael Kopech, and maybe even Eloy Jimenez and Luis Robert will have a breakout season, as well as Yohan Moncada. Yasmani Grandal has a pretty high ceiling. Andrew Vaughn and Tim Anderson should be pretty good. So overall, I think they got a lot of solid hitters. There's some holes in their lineup for sure, but I think they also have the potential to be a wild card team in 2023. Coming in at number 4, we got the Los Angeles Angels. Now, every single year, they disappoint a lot of people because they have 2 of arguably the best players in baseball on their team, Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani, but they had some nice additions this offseason with Tyler Anderson, Brandon Drury, Hunter Renfroe, who's pretty underrated, and Gio Urshela, giving them a rotation with Ohtani, Reed Detmers, Patrick Sandoval, Jose Suarez, and Tyler Anderson. Just like some other teams, they have a number of holes in their lineup, but they have some good star power with Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani, and hopefully Anthony Rendon can stay healthy and can play at least somewhat as good as he used to. Hunter Renfroe is going to help out that lineup a lot too, and Taylor Ward's a nice bat also. I'm not crazy high on the Angels, but I think they do have some potential. At best, I think they're a wild card team. Coming in at number 3, the Texas Rangers. Now, you might be wondering why they're so low on this. Is because they're not much of a sleeper team anymore. They've gained a lot of attention over their last 2 years with all their big signings like Simeon and Seager, but they had another crazy offseason, bringing in Jacob deGrom, Nathan Eovaldi, signing back Martin Perez, and adding Andrew Heaney, giving them a rotation of deGrom, Eovaldi, John Gray, Perez, Andrew Heaney, and Jake Odorizzi. Their lineup definitely has some good hitters with Marcus Simeon, Corey Seager, Nathaniel Lowe, who had a pretty underrated season, Garcia, who has a lot of power, Jonah Hyman, Mitch Garver, who can share catcher and DH roles. There is some holes in their lineup as well, but their pitching rotation is looking pretty stacked, and I think they could be a serious wild card contender in 2023. Next up at number 2, we got maybe a bit of a surprise for some people, but the Minnesota Twins. They re-signed Carlos Correa, which was huge for them, lost Luis Reyes, but got Pablo Lopez in return. Christian Vasquez and Joey Gallo are also added to the lineup. They have a rotation with Lopez, Sonny Gray, Joe Ryan, Tyler Miley, and Kenta Maeda. Their lineup's looking pretty solid too with Byron Buxton, Correa, Jorge Polanco, Max Kepler, Joey Gallo, Christian Vasquez, and now Michael A. Taylor. In 2021, they're a major disappointment, finishing last in their division. They're in first for quite a bit of the season in 2022 until some injury problems happen, so I wouldn't be surprised if the Twins make a comeback in 2023. I think they could be a wild card team, and it might sound crazy, but I think they could also win the AL Central. Coming in at number 1 is the Chicago Cubs, who had a very, very nice offseason. Now, they did lose Wilson Contreras, but their rotation's looking better with Stroman, Tyon, Smiley, Justin Steele, and Keegan Thompson. Their lineup's looking actually pretty solid with Nico Horner, Dansby Swanson, Ian Happ, Seiya Suzuki, Eric Hosmer, Trey Mancini, Cody Bellinger. We'll see how good he is in 2023. I think he'll bounce back somewhat, probably not the MVP form we once saw. Patrick Wisdom or Christopher Morel at third base, and Tucker Barnhart and Yan Gomes as the catchers. I don't see them winning the NL Central, but I do see them having the potential to be a wild card team, or maybe around that area. I'm not sure whether they'll make the playoffs or not in 2023, but definitely in the next 2 or 3 years. Thanks for watching, subscribe.